This is Roy Cannaday from Epic Gaming Night, and this is my top 100 games. Putting the list together was actually a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. I totally have a ton of respect for all the other contributors and all the crew from the Dice Tower who's made top 100s before. It's like, doing my top numbers were super easy. I know what my very favorite games are, but as you get further down, I have to put together all the games that I've played before and figure out which order to put them in. So I'm super excited to share my top 100 with you guys, and let's get to the list. To start this thing off, my number 100 is Telestrations. This is the game of telephone, but with drawing, where one player has a word and they have to draw a picture of that word. They pass it around the table, the next person has to look at it and try to guess what that picture is and write the word down. Then they pass the word that they wrote down to the next person, and then they have to try to draw a picture of that word, and it goes around and around and around. The more people you play the game with, the more it mixes up what the original word was, and this is one of the few games that I've cried. I was laughing so hard. I played this with family, I played with friends, and it's always amazing. It feels a little bit more like an activity than a game because the points don't really matter all that much, but it's still a ton of fun. So my number 100, Telestration. My number 99 is Star Realms. This is a space-themed game where you're deck building, trying to collect ships and star bases out of the center row, trying to knock out your opponent's life points. You're attacking their bases, using your ships to build up combos, trying to draw lots of cards and spam them all over the board and trigger the different abilities on all the different cards. It's a great little two-player deck building game that's lots of fun. My number 99 is Star Realms. My number 98 is Among the Stars. It's a drafting game where you pass the cards around the table and you're trying to build a space station. And as you build a space station, you lay the cards out on the table and you're trying to make sure the cards are in the right place in the different areas of the table so you can get the most points. The distance from different cards to each other matters a lot in this game, and you also have to have energy for certain cards to make them work. It's a fun little drafting game that you feel like you've completed something after you're done and you look at your entire space station out on the table. So my number 98 is Among the Stars. My number 97 is 7 Ronin. This is a game where one player is the Ronin who's trying to defend a village, and the other player is ninjas who are trying to come in and attack the village and sneak in to get special abilities to trigger. This game is a ton of fun because it's always tense. Every time I've played it, it comes down to one Ronin's left standing, and there's only a couple ninjas left, and there's simultaneous unit placement, and you're trying to figure out, is he gonna go here? Should I block there? Should I go here and there? And it's always down to the wire every time I've played this game. So my number 97 is 7 Ronin. My number 96 is Looping Louie. This is a dexterity game where there's a motorized plane flying around trying to knock chickens off your barn, and you have this little flipper where you're trying to keep Louie from knocking your chickens down. It's a lot of fun because you get to try to knock out the other players, and I've played it with my kids, I played it with my game group, and we always have a blast. This game is hilarious. So my number 96 is Looping Louie. My number 95 is XCom. XCom is a real-time game that is app-driven where everybody plays a different role, and the roles are very asymmetrical and different. You have one guy who's the scientist who's trying to research science things. You have a guy who's in charge of all the money and tells people, oh, you can't spend too much money on this or too much money on that, and they're trying to balance everything so that way the countries don't get mad at you for spending too much money. Then there's a guy who's in charge of satellites and running the app. There's another guy who's going in trying to make sure to defend the base and take out the aliens, and it's an exciting, frantic, crazy real-time game with lots of press your luck type stuff when you're trying to get rid of the different aliens in different areas of the thing. It feels completely different depending on which side you're playing or which of the 4 players you're playing, and you have to cooperate like crazy to get anywhere in this game. So for me, my number 95 is XCOM. My number 94 is a 4X game that is a ton of fun. It basically takes all the elements of 4X and puts them down to their most basic components, and that is Nexus Ops. You're running around trying to explore the different areas, flip over different tokens to try to figure out what's there, trying to get resources so that way you can build more units. Simple dice combat, but it's a lot of fun, and it's an amazing game that stuck around for a long time. So my number 94 is Nexus Ops. My number 93 is Seven Wonders Duel. This is a great two-player drafting game, and I love how the cards are set up in like this pyramid where some are face up and some are face down while you're drafting. So you can draft this card, but it might flip a card face up that's going to help your opponent a ton, or it's like you know that they really want that card, so you have to make sure not to draft this card so that way they don't have a chance to get it, and hopefully it works out so that way you can end up getting that card. It's a great drafting game, one of the best, and it's an amazing two-player game. So Seven Wonders Duel is my number 93. My 92 is Cthulhu Realms. Very much the same thing as Star Realms, but it allows you to play 4 players in the base box for it, and it has awesome like Cthulhu art. There's a lot of icons on it that make it a little bit difficult, but I have had a ton of fun with Cthulhu Realms. I love playing all the different things and just seeing things from the Lovecraft mythos pop up. It's very silly and cartoony, but it's a lot of fun. So 92 is Cthulhu Realms. My number 91 is a great gateway game. King of Tokyo is a ton of fun with a Yahtzee-like dice mechanic where you're trying to get points and fight other guys, and you're going in and out of Tokyo trying to mess up your opponents. You're trying to get energy to get all sorts of cool special abilities. Everybody knows what King of Tokyo is because it's an amazing game. So that's why my number 91 is King of Tokyo. Thanks so much for checking out my top 100. I'm excited to go on this journey with you guys all the way to the top of my favorite games. It's so hard to figure out which games I was gonna keep off the list, and I had a lot of struggling like, how do I edge this on or off, or which area does this go in? And it was a ton of fun to make. So I hope you'll join me for the rest of my top 100, and we'll see you guys next time.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.